I'll go ahead and first ask you to say and spell your name for us.
All right, Tim Pierce, Timpierce.
All right. So as with your first term being mayor of Long Beach, first of all, have you seen any notable concerns within the city that you've seen within the past year that you've been here so far?
Noticeable issues or changes?
I would just start off with like issues, concerns, I guess.
Okay, I guess when I came into office, we had, of course, we came out of Hurricane Zeta in 2020. Okay, it destroyed a harbor. It destroyed the one pier that we have at the front of our city. So how I explain it is, I came into a situation to where when people are coming down Highway 90, and for the people who's not from around here, when you leave Bay St. Louis and you ride the beach line, you'll see beautiful Pastor Christian. You'll somewhat go through Long Beach because all you see is destroyed harbor and pier, and none of it has been rebuilt on the northern side of the highway either as far as it comes to businesses. Then you get into Gulfport and you're back into the population. So Long Beach is, and I've made it a point to build up our front door. So in doing that, we have multiple projects going on. One of which is our harbor, which was destroyed 5 years ago. We fought with FEMA for about 5 years. We finally got approval to do the interior part of our harbor. And the other thing I thought was very important to do is to make sure that we have a resilient harbor. So what we went after was grants. So through those grants, we were able to fortify our outer walls. So where we used to not be able to handle just a tropical storm without doing damage, now we have the capability of possibly withstanding a Category 3, which is major. So those projects, it's probably going to be, I'm going to say, around 30 million. Of that, the city has to do its matching on these grants, but we were able to fortify the outer parts of our harbor, which will make it more resilient. And then in the inside of our harbor was really what FEMA was to come back and replace. So in replacing that interior part, they put it back always like it was. They don't do any improvements. So we were able to negotiate. I went back up to DC earlier this year, and we were able to negotiate some resilient type piers, some flow through piers. So we did go from, we'll say from at one time it was a 2.3 million project up to a 3.6. So they allowed us to do that. So we're going to be in good shape going forward. And then we have another project called our Gateway Project. So as you leave down Jeff Davis, which is our main road, if you look south over the Gulf, you'll see where they're putting up a lighthouse. And as you go across to that lighthouse, between that lighthouse and our current harbor, there's a long area in there that we're going to put pavilions, tables, just a nice area to where when people come down the beach, they have a place to pull in with their children and things of that nature. So we got a lot on our plate. We're hoping to bring that to a closure with what we have on our plate right now around the June or July timeframe. So we're getting close. After 5 years, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, well, good. Well, just to sidetrack really quick, you talking about families and the population. Have you guys seen any? Well, I guess have you seen any significant population growth within Long Beach within the past year?
Significant. Okay. All right, and so what I contributed to is Long Beach is a great place to live. This year we were rated the #1 school district in the state of Mississippi. We're the #1 safest city in the state of Mississippi, and we were just awarded the #1 hometown or downtown on the Gulf Coast. So we got a lot of good stuff going for us. So you asked if we're having more people come to our town. They do come to our town because we've always had a great school system and a very good community. So we've had a lot of residential development, which is great. But the city of Long Beach is kind of upside down in residential versus business. A city can't just survive on residential. You've got to offset it with some business. So how that hurts a city like ours is we compete with the other cities on the coast. So we pay the least in fire, police, and school teachers. We're not able to compete with some of the other surrounding cities because we hadn't rebounded from a business standpoint. So that's so crucial. And people don't understand, we got the #1 school district, we got the #1 police department with safety, and yet they get paid lower. They like it because it's the community that they live in.
Okay. Well, then to go back to, the projects with the lighthouse and all those
Mhm.
areas, so going into the state legislative session, do you guys have any plans on asking the state for, some funding or some resources? Is that something that you guys have been looking
We sure do. So we have a shortfall and able to open up that harbor. We were about $7.6 million short. That short was contributing to the third phase of our Gateway project. We completed phase 1. We're in the middle of phase 2. We didn't have enough money to complete phase 3. That's part of what the ask is for. The other part of it is the electrical system. So FEMA kind of brings in the electrical when it goes out to the pier. We had issues with bringing the electricity in to hook into the piers. So that's where the $7.6 million ask. And so what the Gulf Coast Restoration Fund does is they allow the different cities to put forward a project. And then, so I think they started out with 83 projects. So we made the first round, we made it down to 56 projects. Then we made the next round and got us down to about 33. Then the next round, I had to go give a presentation to this committee that was going to pick the ones that they want to go forward to the legislation. So out of the 83, we ended up being the #3 project out of 83 in total. So I'm feeling real confident, but that's the last piece of the puzzle to open up our front door to business coming into our city. So it was a big deal.
Perfect. And you said that was through the Gulf Restoration Act, correct?
The Gulf Coast Restoration
Okay.
funds.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Just kind of an off topic because I've done a similar story. Have you guys done anything with the Restore Act at all through the Mississippi Forestry Commission?
No.
No. Okay.
Ours has mainly been through Go Mesa and Gulf Coast Restoration Fund.
Okay. Let's see. Well, I guess aside from notable issues, are there any notable improvements that you've seen going on within the community within the past year?
Oh yeah. Well, so when I ran for office, all I heard from most of our people were the harbor. We got to have our harbor back. Like I told you earlier, I've lived here since '63. That was a big part of my growing up, was being able to go down to our local harbor and be able to fish, launch my boat. It was part of the community. We had a full harbor. And so I promised the people that was going to be my #1 priority. And that's what it's been. And so we're actually moving forward at a pretty good pace. We're a little bit ahead of schedule now, where we were kind of dead in the water. And I'll tell you why. I mean, the previous administration wanted to do an enhanced project with FEMA. Now, FEMA will not do an enhanced project. So, like I had mentioned earlier, they first gave us an estimate of $2.3 million to replace the harbor. That wasn't enough. So what they do is when you do an enhanced project, you can do an enhanced project. They'll give you $2.3 million, but you won't get a penny more. So we couldn't afford to go back with an enhanced project. So that's where I worked with FEMA very hard in these last few months to move this forward. And last month we got a $3.6 million. So that was huge.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I guess within having that Gateway project worked on, especially at such a fast pace, if it's kind of ahead of schedule, what's been the community reaction from that? Have you heard any significant responses from the community?
Well, yes. They know we're making a lot of progress, because I think I mentioned to you earlier, every Friday I come out with a little film on Moment with the Mayor. So what I do is I try to, because when you're riding down Highway 90 and you look at it, you really don't see the progress, because it's all down in the harbor. So what I do is about once a month or so, I'll go down there and I'll do a little 5 or 10 minute show letting people know, here's the progress we're making. So what I do is, like I said, is I tell the story instead of them making the story up. So we have had a lot of positive responses, because they can see things are happening now. And so it's really been great. A lot of good feedback. And it looks like the community is uplifted, because they do see progress being made. And another thing, I came in when I was the mayor, I'm real big about the appearance of our town. So I really went after derelict properties. We've got ordinances for dumpsters that are supposed to be in contained areas. So in the past years, we hadn't been enforcing these ordinances. So that was the first 2 months, we were out sending citations that from here on out, you're going to abide by our ordinances, because the intent of those ordinances is to have your town look much better and cleaner. And that's our intent, is to keep our city clean and a nice place to come. We have a lot of people that come in from the north that moved down to Long Beach, and while I was campaigning, they absolutely loved this town and said this is the best kept secret ever. It said it's so nice, you know, we got a little golf cart community, and it's a tight-knit community, and they absolutely love it. So things are working. We're moving in the right direction.
Right, absolutely. Okay. Well, I guess aside from, you know, funding and resources for the Gateway project, what else are you maybe hoping to see or to get out of the state legislative session this year?
Good question. We've got a lot of intersections in our town that were designed way back, and they've never changed. We have much more traffic on our roads than we had in the past. Some of our main intersections, like right up the street here at Jeff Davis and Railroad, I'm re-gearing that intersection to where we have railroad tracks that go east and west, and that's where that intersection's at. So it's kind of a one-way in. If a train's coming, no matter if you're turning or going straight, you're backed up. So we're building like storage lanes, which will help to facilitate the movement of traffic. Another area we got is Klondike and Commission. Same concept. It's a bottleneck, and so we're trying to, we're doing it through grants. So we have matching funds that we have to contribute, but we're trying to spend this money the best way we can to get our best results. So not too long ago, the state passed the internet tax, where each city gets portions of taxes that are being made off the internet, okay? Ours, we'll say, is $1 million a year. You can take those proceeds and match your grants. So what we're doing is, not only are we doing the intersections we know are the most important, but we're matching it with the internet funds, something we could have never done in the past. So we're strategically thinking about how we're spending our funds.
Okay. Well, to go on to the internet tax, because we had briefly discussed tax with another mayor, has there been any like significant fluctuations in what taxes look like for citizens over this year, or is just the internet tax just been kind of helpful in general?
They've been helpful. I mean, they've been super helpful. So they've been kind of pretty steady. So for a town like ours, like I told you, we don't have a big business community, but our people sit in their living rooms and buy things off Amazon just like everybody else. So we still need our cut of what's being bought. And it's been a tremendous help in the city. We're able to put in a walkable community. We've put in multiple sidewalks that connect the University of Southern Mississippi with downtown by putting sidewalks between our main street and USM. So we want a walkable community, and we want a safe community. And that internet tax has really helped us to do that, accomplish that.
Okay, perfect. Well, I guess I kind of already asked you about the first two, but I'll go ahead, I'll let you kind of repeat it. If you had to choose, 5 top things to bring up at the legislative session this year, what would you bring up?
Wow. Help us to create a more resilient community on the coast, because we are prone to hurricanes. And it's through these grant programs that they're doing. Continue to fund these things, especially in towns that really need it. I think another area that our legislators need to really get involved in is a high cost of insurance. I'll tell you a little bit about that. If you go into Louisiana or Alabama, they're 20 to 40% cheaper than Mississippi. And that's because they've implemented programs that help make fortified roofing and things of that nature. What we're up against here in Mississippi is we're such a high-risk community. Insurance companies don't want to come in and compete. They'd rather go to your less risky areas like Louisiana and Alabama. So I think if the legislators really need to move out on implementing this program and getting it going. It really, in my eyes, should have been implemented back after Katrina, when everybody was building their new homes. If they'd had the codes to that level, we'd be a lot better off today. But the longer we wait, the more we're getting behind the 8 ball.
Right. Okay. So you said traffic, traffic, you said the Gateway Project,
Mhm.
the grants for resilience, just overall safe and just kind of like, oh my gosh, my brain blanked. Just kind of coming together as a community as a whole.
Yes.
Okay.
And, you know, and those, thank goodness for these grants because it allows for city, you know, it's not, like I said, I've lived here since '63. Prior to Katrina, we didn't have a empty lot on our main street. When you ride east and west on Highway 90, there was no empty lots. Now you see a lot of empty lots. So if the legislators really want to help us even further, I would lobby our congressmen and senators to relook at the FEMA flood levels. They developed those levels based on a 500-year event, which was Katrina. And it's not really fair to force a community like ours to abide by a 500-year storm. And the thing that makes Long Beach even more impacted by this, if you look at the flood elevations from Pascagoula all the way into Bay St. Louis, which is our whole beach line, Pascagoula and Long Beach are in the worst V zone. I don't know if it's a V zone, but it's the worst zone to be in. You can't build up to build a store or something like that. You got to build them on stilts. So how many businesses want to come in and be on 20-foot stilts? It just doesn't work. But that's where all our prime land is. So we have to work on that. We got to relook at it. I think they went too far on the FEMA floodplains.
Okay. Well, let me see. I guess that's most of the basic questions that I had. Is there anything that maybe I haven't mentioned yet that you think would be worth mentioning?
Well, you know, I would say that we have a wonderful community here. And like I said, when I went around and campaigned, everybody was in agreement that we have a wonderful town to live in. And so I would say to the people that are out there, if you want to move to a great location, come down to Long Beach because we've got a blank slate. And I think we're gonna move forward with smart growth in order to keep the kind of quality of life that we have intact. So it's a great place to live, and houses are coming up everywhere.
I was about to say, I was going to ask you, in case of that population growth or with the growth that's already happening, what kind of residential areas are being built right now?
All right, so I'd say, and I might be off a little bit, but within the last, say, two years, maybe 3, we have built just under 500 new homes in our little community here. So, and that gets back to, like I told you, we have the traffic count, but we don't have the business to support it. And I think it's a matter of time, especially if they solve the issue of the floodplains, that we're going to be the place to be. So,
All right.
I'm very optimistic with Long Beach's future.
I gotcha. Well, Jaden or Samina, is there anything that y'all think that I might have forgotten to ask?
Come on, give me a hard one.
Your
Good.
blanket? A hard one. I'm trying to think if I have a hard one. Well, I guess we'll just have to look forward to the second term coming in, or second year out of your term.
Yes.
All right.
So I've committed to 1 term, and it's like when I was on the school board, I had certain things that I wanted to accomplish. It just took me 20 years to get there. The biggest thing I think we accomplished was our career technical education facility. This is a facility for those kids who aren't college bound, and that was always my intent, to give these kids another opportunity, to let them know there is meaning, they can contribute, and they absolutely love it, and they're thriving. And that's another thing that makes our community super. You can move here and you don't have to be college bound. We got a great USM Guff Park right here. That's where I got my college degree. But I didn't have to go that way. I could have, if I had the opportunity, which I wouldn't change my career, but I could have done that career technical education. And so I've got grandkids that are in that program and they're thriving. So I think it's the best thing that we could have done for this community.
Well, good. And you said that's a career tech school?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, I guess the last question I could ask, so after the Gateway project's finished, are there any upcoming projects that you guys already kind of have ideas of, or maybe starting to get in development once the Gateway's finished?
Yeah, well, like I told you, when I came in, there was a number of grants that this program that the city went after. They got them. The problem was they couldn't match them. So we do have grants going forward that I'd like to chase. But my biggest project that I want to try to accomplish, and it may take 2 terms, is a north-south corridor that will run from our harbor, up Cleveland, up Klondike, all the way in back into Canal. That will open up a gateway for people to come down and come right into the heart of Long Beach. But more than just that, we have our CB base that is just on the north side of Long Beach, just inside Gulfport. They need a way to mobilize their equipment and get to the interstate quickly. I've talked to them. They like this concept, so that will help them. And as well, our port in Gulfport, we have a lot of truck traffic that we would like to get off Highway 49. This would give them an alternate route in order to come a little bit west and make their way back up to I-10. So what will that do? There's a lot of vacant land in between Long Beach and I-10. It will open that up into more business possibilities. So that's kind of what my long-range vision is for the city as a whole.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, it sounds like you've got a good plan going. I say we'll be looking forward to it. I think that's about everything.
All right.
Nothing else?
Well,
Good.
thank y'all.
Thank you. We appreciate your time.